And let's go. That's like my thing.
And now it's time for Bikes, Mikes, and Idiots with your hosts, Ubi and Eric.
We're idiots, yeah.
Yes, we are. And guys, here we go, because we got another podcast going.
Absolutely.
Obviously, we do dumb things sometimes.
Yes.
And say a lot of dumb things.
Yeah, well, I didn't realize he was recording already, so, it happens. I thought we were on our back channel. He hadn't hit it yet, so, that's me talking like a moron at the beginning of the thing here. But you'll see here, we're in our Stormtrooper white. I just had camo, so you can't see me.
So you're like the stormtroopers on Hoth.
Yes.
There you go. They were wearing camo.
Yep. That's why you can't see me.
Can never see you. I'm pretty sure this guy has more than half his closet in camo.
Yes. I don't know why I like camo.
I like camo.
Like I almost did a
kid.
wrap on my bike that was the gray blue, like the naval blue gray camo off the ships. I almost did that on the bike. I really wanted to, and I was like, man, I think it would look cool for a little bit, and then I think I'd get sick of it really quick.
Yeah, maybe. But right now you sounded like that kid. I like turtles.
I like turtles.
If only I could bring up that clip pretty quickly, but that's why we eventually, if we get a producer, that'd be hilarious, because then they can bring up stuff
turtles. Like turtles. It's been a long day. Lunch was good today.
Yeah.
Had a real good lunch today, so.
Lunch is always good, honestly.
Yeah.
How can you go wrong with sushi?
You can't.
No, actually, yes.
You can. Gas station sushi.
You know what? I've actually gotten sick quite a few times on sushi, to the point, like, I've eaten enough sushi to where I could tell you just by looking at it, looking at the salmon, looking at the tuna and stuff, being like,
that's not good.
That stuff's not good. I've literally
we did that once. You had that once.
Yeah.
At the place we go.
Oh, yeah, that's right.
And you told them, and they were cool about it. They're like, okay, we'll replace it.
And usually they will. Because I've had to bring it up at quite a few places and be like, those are not good. And they look at them, and they're kind of like, But then you can see.
The sheen.
Yeah, there's a certain look to it, and you're like, this has been out
Is it
way
like
too
this?
long. If I was eating that kind of fish, definitely, that one would be fresh.
Yeah, I know.
Like the Simpsons
it was still
fish.
moving. Oh, yeah, the Blinky.
That fish is awesome.
Yeah, he is. But yeah, so I mean, I know we talked about a little bit last go, but about working on cars and repairing and all that kind of stuff. So what have you had for modded cars?
I've done most of my own modifications, but I've worked on a lot of cars. I've worked on a lot of other people's cars to help them out. Just help installing, like new intakes, new stuff like that, upgrading suspensions and things like that. Fairly simple stuff, to be honest, but I love doing it.
Yep.
It's something innate in me that just, I enjoy working on things, making them work better.
Except for this podcast, because I think it gets worse by the week.
I think we might have.
It happens.
You know what? Maybe that's an age thing.
Yeah, we can't remember.
We can't. Yeah. No memory.
But no, I mean that's the same thing here. I've modified multiple Jeeps. I'm working with our buddy Joe. He has an older Jeep he wants to do some mods on, and so we're sitting down finally and working through it. And hey, this is what I want to do. This is where I want to get to it. And he's like, I just don't know anything about it. I'm like, hey, we'll help you from scratch, and you're obviously going to be involved in it as well. And we'll work on getting him up to date, make him a really cool Jeep for him and his wife to have, and they're cool people, cool
awesome
people.
And you want to make something, especially when you're doing something for a friend. You want to do as best you can, but then you do that weird tango with, do you want to spend this much money, or do you find something that's good enough that's cheaper?
Well, and I told him, this is all up to you. I'm going to show you your options, and you're going to have to figure it out. Like, I will help you install everything. I'll push you in the right direction, but I said it's going to be pricey. You're going to spend money.
Oh, yeah.
And he said, I don't care about how much money I spend. Oh, well, there you go then. If that's the case, then I can do anything. But
Well, and that's the crazy thing is when
he
you're
just wants
modding
it to
cars,
look good. He's not going to off-road it too much.
it's not gonna be enough.
He just wants to have it look good and be up a little taller, so a little bit higher stance. So,
And that's honestly like they sit just on the cusp of looking good.
Yeah.
At stock.
oh, and they do that on purpose so that you
Yeah.
buy the Mopar lift and the Mopar lift shocks and the Mopar bumpers and the Mopar. It's like Harley.
Yeah, I mean, but
Every Harley's great. It's just like a Jeep. You spend $30,000 on it. Once you spend an extra 20, it's perfect.
it's fine.
It's the same as a Jeep. It's a $50,000 Rubicon, and once you spend another $20,000 on it, it's awesome.
But the funny thing is, so those factory parts are they're good parts.
Yeah, they're not.
They're not bad.
No, factory parts are good, but the aftermarket's
The
so
aftermarket's-
huge, and depending
and it's
on
so
what
much better.
vehicle it is.
But it's better for the
Yeah.
cost.
Yeah.
You get better parts.
Yes.
And then
And
but the
Mopar
only
has
thing
some
is-
really cool parts for their Jeeps, but just
do.
there's some
Although-
stuff that guys who've been building Jeeps for years have companies that's all they do. Like
Oh, yeah.
they work on bumpers.
So did you ever see, going on the whole Jeep topic, did you ever see those guys? So they modded a Jeep before they came out with the, what is it called?
392.
Is it the 392 kit? Whatever.
Yeah.
Like the upgraded.
Yeah.
So they did a 392 in a Jeep. They had spent I think it was like $100,000 modifying the Jeep
Yep.
so that it would accept the 392.
And then now they came out with it, and it's like
It was
70
a
grand.
year later. Yeah, it was like a year later.
Well, because a lot of people do V8 swaps in them. There's enough space under the hood. I mean, it's tight.
It's probably LS.
And it's
swaps a lot,
really
though.
tight.
Because the LSs
Actually,
are-
no, because the from what I understand is the transmission, they don't really change it. The ZF,
Really?
it's got an 8-speed sealed transmission. It's a pretty good transmission in there. They're pretty strong. They can handle a lot of power. But I don't know for sure. Like,
Well,
I
when you
personally
think about
don't
it,
like
though,
Jeeps.
when you think about it, though, most V8 swaps.
Yeah,
For
they
anything.
use an LS because
They
an LS,
usually
there's
use an
so
LS.
many parts for it. Well, and the big thing with it is
It's
there's a
because
harness
it's
for
not,
it.
It's not overhead cam,
Yeah.
and that makes a huge difference because it can go in
Yeah.
so many cars because it's a little bit smaller.
Well, and a little box that big runs the whole thing.
yeah,
You know, whereas a lot of these other engines, you have to have so much more to make them run, and there's already harnesses for everything because they've been throwing V8s and Jeeps forever.
yeah. Oh yeah,
I mean, that's not a new concept.
but throwing a 392 in,
Yeah, that was a new concept.
That's a huge-
That's a big
that's a
motor,
big
and it's a high horsepower motor. If you've ever heard them running,
6.4.
holy crud, it's unbelievable. And they're cool Jeeps, and it rides like a Jeep.
that's the only problem.
It-
Well, have you ever driven a G wagon?
Yes,
It's the same concept.
yes.
You're talking about $150,000 car
Mm-hmm.
that rides like an old Jeep, and you're just like, why
Why?
do people love this so much?
I can tell you why. Because it's a tax write-off.
For everybody?
Yes, because it's over a certain gross vehicle weight rating. If it's over, I think it's over 6,000 pounds, then you can actually write it off and it depreciates in value.
I mean, but still. Like, I've driven a few of them.
For
and you're
people
just
who
like-
have money, that's how you get taxes.
and
It's a
don't-
write-off.
Don't get me wrong, there is some nice ones, and they're
yeah,
very
I mean,
capable off-road.
They're
the
extremely
G-Wagons.
capable off-road. But that's mall crawler times 3.
Oh, it really is. I saw one the other day. So I had gone to my my niece's graduation, and it was rough. It was just the area, like getting out of there took like a good hour and a half, just because of how they had it set up and
Yeah.
everything. But when I was walking in, I see this pink, like bubblegum pink G-Wagon on the back tire. The cover for it had like the Louis Vuitton logos on it, like stamped in
Yeah.
and all that stuff. Because, you know, it's a hardcover. And it's a bubblegum pink one. You know that one's insanely expensive.
Oh, absolutely.
But
Well, just the
guaranteed
wrap,
it doesn't.
just the wrap on that would be expensive.
I think it was actually painted. I don't think it
Oh,
was
if it's
wrapped.
painted, that's even higher.
So
People are dumb.
I was like, holy crap.
If you're watching this and you have the
Guaranteed.
pink G-Wagon, I'm sorry. That's dumb.
Yeah. It's a status symbol at that point.
Oh,
It's not
absolutely.
even-
Absolutely.
Because guaranteed that car's never seen dirt.
Oh no. And even the mall crawler I've got, I mean, we've taken it off road, we take it down dirt roads, we do all that kind of stuff. But
Yeah.
I mean, I don't go hardcore off roading with it because it's one of our primary vehicles. So,
I've taken my truck off road.
Well, I've got some good pictures of before we modded this thing
Taking
where
it
I've got
off-road?
it going crazy vertical climbs and stuff like that. But I just don't, you've got too much money into it now at this point that.
Well, and I think that's a lot of people's idea. They spend so much money doing these modifications, doing all this stuff. They're like, I don't want to break it. My perception on it is, if I'm going to do these modifications, I'm doing it for a reason.
Yeah.
I'm doing it for a reason.
I know guys that have dumped the same amount of money into theirs and they off-road it, they wheel it every weekend.
Yeah.
And we're just not, like, I have too much other things going on. Like, I'll go and do some stuff with Jeep groups here and there, but I just don't have time every weekend to go Jeeping. Like, that's not necessarily my thing. I have other things that I do in my weekends for pastimes.
But going Jeeping is like a whole, like, day-long event.
Usually it's a whole weekend because they go out and then they stay overnight part way. And then,
But
and every time I see them, they're posting, oh, this rig broke. It took us 8 hours to get out of the trail. I don't want to break it and have to drag the thing 8 hours out of the trail.
See, but those people, the guys that are hardcore doing it, they do it for those purposes.
Yeah.
They want to.
They
They
want to do
enjoy.
that.
They
Yeah.
enjoy, like, oh, this broke down. We were able to fix it. We were able to get it out. So they have that story.
I don't enjoy that.
I mean, like I said, I've said
I
before,
do.
I like to repair things. I like to make it work. That's why I said, I don't know, a few podcasts ago about with Damien's '68 Camaro.
Yeah.
I've told him I want to help you work on it because
Yep.
one, he's already told me, since you're going to help me work on it, whenever you want to drive it, you know, he's going to let me drive it. But it's just especially working on those older cars.
Well, yeah, they're easier to work on than the new stuff. There's so much computer stuff in the new ones.
It's ridiculous.
Yeah.
Like, if you need like a computer engineering degree to work on the new cars now, it's insane.
Well, like these dyno tuners that are around now, like those guys are so smart.
Well, remember when we talked to Eric when we were up at Bike Week?
Yeah.
And he has to go through certain trainings, specialized trainings and all that.
He's been working on it for like 3 years.
And that's just to work on stock cars.
Yep.
Now imagine you're doing or you have a tuned car, or you're trying to do tunes or upgraded this, that, and the other.
Well, and there's one of the best LS tuners is out here in the Tucson area. I don't know his name. I know a buddy of mine was getting an LS put in, and he did research, and like one of the best LS tuners in the Tucson area.
Really?
Or is in the Tucson area. Mm-hmm. And I think he has a shop in Scottsdale as well. He told me the name a while back, and it's been a while since I talked to him about it. I just kind of
one day
I filtered it out, and it doesn't matter until my engine blew up. But that was a stock issue. But
yeah,
but
they've had issues with that particular motor.
Yeah,
but I mean, if we're talking about stuff that's in Arizona, what was amazing? There's I don't know, I remember the name of the company or whatever, but they do those like off-road Caymans. Essentially,
oh,
they
yeah.
have the body of a Cayman, but it's off-road, it's lifted, it's all that stuff. I don't remember the name of the company, what it is. It might be Bowler something else. Can't remember. Regardless, those things are awesome.
Oh, yeah.
They're awesome off-road.
Yep. But
Granted, they're expensive, but...
Well, that's why, like, I think that's why the popularity of UTVs and side-by-sides has gotten so big, because
those things are so expensive, too.
But you spend $35,000 on a side-by-side, and it's more capable than that $50,000 Jeep.
Depends on the situation, because
on most
rock crawling, you're not gonna be
low gear. Those things can do it. Like I was amazed because some of them have locking front and rear diffs. Like they can do
you're talking about you're going into the $40,000-$50,000 range.
Yeah,
on those
but still, even
point.
that's still less than that. Now you still don't have AC.
Yeah, you have no AC.
But most of your stuff that you ride out here is open dirt road trails, like 2 tracks and stuff like that. And on that, side-by-sides kill Jeeps. A Jeep could never keep up with it.
Yeah.
So you're looking; those things are tuned. That's literally what they're built for. They have turned basically. UTVs went from being like your little utility deal to a sport deal, and now
remember when
like
the Ranger had come out.
Oh yeah, and everyone was like, "Oh, this is amazing!"
Yeah,
and then they did a Razor, and then oh wow, the Razor's amazing, and then now you got the Can-Am X3s and the X3
Can-Ams.
Maxes, and they sound so amazing.
I just love their performance more than anything else because they have.
Well, our buddy has one, and he took me out for a spin on it one night. Whoa, we're doing 75 down this dirt road,
Jeez.
and I was just like, smooth as smooth could be. Like, we're gonna go hit something. The funny thing is, when we came back, he was like, "Dude, you didn't flinch for any of that." I'm like, "I taught driving."
Yeah, I've done
I taught driving. It doesn't affect me. Riding, like I rolled over in a car with a student, and it was like, oh, there we go.
See, that's why. As much as I had thought about it and I wanted to teach driving, I was like, I don't know if I could do it. I think I'd freak out.
There was days, and you kind of build yourself up to the point where you're like, you don't freak out too easy.
Yeah.
I had a student take me into a 90-degree corner at 70 miles an hour and tried to make the corner. And I had to reach over and grab the wheel and crank it back straight. And we launched off the course at close to 70 miles an hour. And we're jumping and bouncing and all that. And I'm yelling at him, get on the brakes, get on the brakes. And finally he gets on the brakes enough to slow it down. I jammed it into park. I'm sure I blew the transmission out of that truck. I don't even care.
I mean, at that point, that was cheaper than them having to repair the rest of the car.
Well, and repair me and him for dying. And, yeah, it was, I got out of the car and he's like, sir, what did I do? I'm like, get out. Get out.
You're like, get out. Let me close the door. Let me scream in this car for a minute.
Oh my gosh.
So I can actually.
So the guy in the tower called over, hey, are you guys okay? And I was like, nope, I need a new pair of shorts. But it was one of those, like it was bad. And I got out of the car and I said, guys, I'm done. I'm tapping out of this student. I can't do it.
Yeah.
I can't do it. I'm not getting back in the car with this guy. And he ended up failing driving.
Wonder why.
Yeah. That was on his test that he did it because we're not supposed to say anything.
Oh, yeah.
And at some point, my survival instinct took over and his complaint. And
you have one of those?
Yeah. Yeah. On that time I did because I wasn't in control. When I'm in control, my survival instinct's a little bit longer. It takes longer for it to kick in. But, oh, my God, it was one of those where he complained, the instructor, grabbed the steering wheel. Yeah, because I was going to roll over.
Yeah.
Like, you took me into a turn that's normally 35 miles an hour at 70. Yeah. And there's no way we would have going to make it.
Oh, yeah.
No way. And so, they ended up holding up his firing and saying, yeah, he's done.
Yeah. I mean,
but
some people are just unsafe in general.
Oh, dude, it was funny because I'm like, I'm tapping out. And they're like, you've never tapped out on a student before. I'm like, I'm out. I'm done. Not happening. Put him with somebody else.
That must have been rough.
And then the next guy was like halfway through the lap, he called it and said, I'm done. So
you had a longer fuse anyways.
Oh, yeah, I did. But it was still like at some point the survival instinct did kick in. I was like, nope. And the worst part is they had to unbolt the seat to get me out of the car.
What?
Yeah, because I puckered so hard, I sucked it right up my butt, and I was stuck to the seat. And then they had to peel me out.
Was there a little bit of cloth missing?
Oh, there was a whole seat missing. I sucked the whole seat up in there trying to stay in there. It was a scary one. It was one that it was just like, I don't know how this person has made it. And then I've had a guy.
Drivers like that too on the road, and you're just like,
how did they pass?
How did they pass?
They paid somebody. I swear to God, they paid somebody off. Some guy at the DMV was just like, just pay me cash because I don't want to ride with you either.
Yeah, I don't want to be there.
But those things happen. And then a lot of the upgrades and stuff that make those things better. So like a car that would make that corner. So like I had a race prep Mustang that had Tokiko D-spec shocks on it, fully adjustable, like crazy dampening and like all sorts of setups.
Fully adjustable dampening and all that stuff.
So I went in actually a company in California, GTR High Performance, when I was out there, did all the work for me. They did a phenomenal job. And they set the thing up. And I was road racing and doing autocross and stuff with it. And then like a buddy and I were heading home from work one day. He had a similar year. I think it was a year newer Mustang. And
what year did you have?
06. So he had an 07. So 4.6 liter. And mine was a convertible. He had a hardtop. So technically the hardtop should be better in the turns.
A little bit more rigid.
But I had X bracing. So I had the X bracing. I had the rear strut brace, the front strut brace.
So you would imagine if you had done that with a hardtop.
Oh, yeah.
How much better it would have been.
It would have been crazy. So we're heading home and we're going up this road and it's super curvy. And he was leading the way and I was right on him the whole time. And he's like, hey, dude, you want to lead? I'm like, yeah, let's go do that again. So we went back through and I led and he's like, how the heck did you go that fast through there? I'm like, it's all about the suspension.
Suspension makes a huge difference.
Oh, my God.
It really does.
Which is why it's going on the bike. And I wasn't able to do it this week. Had to push it off again because just
things
too busy.
Up. Yeah, things come up. People are busy. And actually...
And honestly, the tool the guy got for it, because you have to set your fork level at a certain level. So I need 110 millimeters, I think, of oil.
Mm-hmm.
His tool got delayed by Amazon because of the storms that we're going through. So weather affects everything. So.
It really does. I mean,
and he's doing
warming.
And honestly, my buddy is hooking me up by doing it because it would be, I think, $700 is what they quoted me at the shop to do it. Because it's quite a few hours.
Yeah.
And they got to dump oil, put new oil in, and then set it for your weight and all that kind of stuff. So there's some tuning involved. It's not just a quick bolt it on and you're done. Well, it shouldn't be.
I mean, technically, still it's considered a bolt-on part, though.
The front shock's not so much because you got to pull the tubes out. Just take the front wheel off, pull the tubes out. Drain the oil, pull the other spring out. So there's some more stuff to the front. The back's easy. The back just bolts in, but you still got to set it.
Yeah.
And that takes time. So they quoted me that. And I mean, you go to any shop, they're going to charge you $125 an hour to do it.
Which I'm sure it'll be worth it.
It's probably 5 hours worth of work to do that. I mean, they'll change it out in an hour and a half, 2 hours. But then you've got 3 hours of tuning. Like, okay, who's in the shop is about the same weight as this guy. And then, we got 3 of us sitting on the bike now.
I was going to say, there's probably going to be
So, I mean, it's just going to be easy. We're going to be able to just do it and get the sag set, get everything set up for it. And like I said, once I've got it on, I've ridden for a little bit, I'll give a good little shout out to the company. They were great to work with.
I'm sure that won't be for
another month.
Yeah, it probably won't be for another month till you actually give the
Get
shout out and say something. But alrighty, going over one of our sponsors, one of our founding sponsors here. It's going to be Sketchy Alias. He's a good buddy of mine. Known him for a long time. He is a freelance graphic designer from Arizona who specializes in vector-based artwork. It's actually really cool if you were to ever look into that. It's actually a cool thing. I've done a little bit of design myself, and he is amazing at it. He's shown me everything I've known so far, except for the stuff I learned myself, but he's taught me, even though I've done it for a while, he's taught me quite a few things, even recently. He's been working in design for over 15 years, and he works on everything from logos, apparel design, and social media. He's actually done a few stuff for us. He's done our logo, and looking forward to the stuff he's going to do for us because he's going to be doing all our artwork. So check him out. He's on Instagram. He has his own webpage. Go check out his stuff. Buy some of his merch. He is top notch. No, I was thinking about this, and I've been kind of holding off a little bit on saying it, but with the whole Jeep thing. So,
We scrolled.
Definitely. SOS kicked in. But I have a 96 F-150. Mine's something that you couldn't get like at a dealership. Had to be kind of custom ordered.
Special order.
And so it's a single cab short bed 4x4 with the 5.8 liter. So you either had to have extended cab or long bed to get this, to get that engine from at a dealership. So mine's kind of a one-off thing.
One-off, yeah.
But
kind of like
it's
you.
Amazing. It is a little bit, but it's amazing off-road because it's kind of short wheelbase and all this stuff. So
it takes a lot of those off-road boxes.
Yeah.
So it's an F-150 though, right?
Yeah, F-150.
So it's going to have independent front suspension, four-wheel drive?
Yes, independent front. It's still considering what it is, and it does have its faults. Granted, it does have its faults, and I haven't done too much to make it.
Solid axle is always what I consider the best for that, but
Well,
there's arguments either way. You get the better articulation, and you can get more grip with a solid front axle. But I've seen some independent setups that do a great job too.
Yeah.
So it depends.
It depends what you're trying to do with it. And I'm not really trying to do too much rock crawling with it.
You're doing more desert
like,
racing type of deal.
But we have a buddy. Well, he's a buddy of my brother-in-law.
His plumber's cousin, right?
Yes.
Yeah. Okay. Perfect.
So he had an
Just touch my feet, you weirdo.
I did not.
Okay.
I was looking under the table for a dog.
Yeah.
But he had he took a K5 chassis, shortened it, and then put a Jeep body on it. And he had this thing set up for rock crawling. So it was carbureted. Oh. Must have been the dog. Must have been the dog under the table.
You stepped on him. Her.
I try not to step on dogs.
They're all
It
ladies.
happens.
Our dogs are all ladies over here anyway.
Yeah. So he had his full setup for rock crawling. So his carburetor, he had a special carburetor, essentially.
Oof, now you're getting old. Carbs, yeah.
Well, I mean, you could still build carbureted engines now, and they do still a lot. And his was set up for rock crawling to where if it tipped over, that carburetor will cut out completely, which isn't a normal thing. It'll flood, and then you have to go through that whole process.
But it cuts it.
So it cuts.
It's got
it
a tip valve in it.
Yeah. And so we had gone off-roading with him, and I'm in my truck. He's in that Jeep, huge articulation, all that stuff. I went through about 95% of everything he could go through with my truck. And
I could do it.
Is customized.
I've got the best four-wheel drive vehicle that'll make it through all that stuff.
What's that?
No problem. Ford Mustang rental car.
Rental car is the best car you can ever have.
Best four-wheel drive vehicle ever. Because it's not yours.
Even if it's a little Toyota Corolla.
Oh, yeah. It'll go farther than anybody's truck will.
It's the fastest you'll ever go.
Yep. God, that's funny.
But yeah, that's why I was saying it's insanely capable, and it also has to do with how you drive.
Well, you know how to drive too, though. You've been trained on off-road driving and stuff.
But that was before that. Like I've known. I mean,
if you grew up around it though, like I grew up on a farm, riding ATVs, snowmobiles, dirt bikes, working on farm track. Riding farm tractors, trucks. The old, not the mules, but what they were before then. The Kawasaki mules. Mm-hmm. We just did that. That's normal. And hey, look at that mud. Let me see if I can make it through it. And for me, it was mud. It wasn't desert and sand. But same general idea. Hey, look at this snowbank. Let me see how far I can get through this thing. And you always get stuck on it.
Well, so back on that story when we had gone out with my buddy. This was before my dad had passed away. The funniest thing about it, so my dad gave me a lot of crap for my truck. I mean, he had it. I thought he had told me he had sold it to somebody. He didn't. He still had it. I bought it back from him. Got it running, got it going. Craziest thing about that truck had been sitting for about 12 years, not starting. I dropped the gas tank, put a new one in, new radiator lines and stuff like that. Fired right up. But we had gone off-roading, and my dad would come with us. My dad had more fun that day with my buddy. My dad had more fun in my truck than I ended up having.
Yep.
And I was over there recording some stuff for him and stuff. And
they're cool. Those older vehicles were a lot, they're built on frames. They're not unibody.
Oh,
and that's the thing with Jeeps. Like, as much as I bag on Jeeps, because they're easy to work on. That's one of the easiest vehicles to work on. Now they're a little bit crazier now with all the electronic locking diffs and sway bar disconnects and all that kind of stuff.
Locking diffs are awesome.
Yeah, it's nice until they break, and then it gets goofy.
Then it gets pricey.
But it's a frame. It's on a frame.
It's
not a unibody.
Body on frame.
So it's so much easier to work on those. There's so much. Nut certs. That's what it's called. Remember the thing I was talking about, like about a month ago about, I have like they're like rivets, but they're not. They're called nut certs. It just popped into my head right now. So like even with those, if you're installing stuff on the frame, you can punch those in there.
Yeah.
And it's not going to hurt it. You've got enough of a frame on there that a couple of nut certs isn't going to hurt it. So I've got a nut cert tool that you can actually do that, and you pop them in there, and it basically rivets the backside, and you have a nut that you can screw into.
Little applause for remembering
something from a month ago. But I've done so much work on the thing. Like I've done wiring, and I hate wiring. I hate electrical work. I put in a dual battery setup into it, which was awesome.
Yeah.
Because the little auto start-stop battery sucks. But
I hate, ever since they came out with that, like, it's a good idea in theory. But think about the wear and tear it puts on your starter, on your battery.
Well, they don't care about your starter because you're going to replace it from Mopar.
Well, you have to at that point. Yeah. You start having to replace things.
Yeah.
And what do you?
And you can shut it off, but on hers, every time you start the car, you have to shut it off.
And they sell.
So like even with my BMW diesel, it had auto start stop. Like once you shut it off, it stayed off.
So I
You had to go in through the menus and turn it back on.
So I had a buddy that was telling me the other day about he had a car, or it was his wife's car or something like that. And he's like, I almost died because of it.
Yeah.
And he was telling me the story. I was like, how? Like, that just doesn't compute. How did you almost die because of auto stop start? Well, he was saying, I guess it was a little bit older, like when this technology first came out. And he was at a light and he was going to turn. And so he stopped. It shut off. He went to the gas because he had a decent opening. And it delayed because it had to kick back on.
Kick back on.
And
he almost got T-boned.
I almost got T-boned.
Yep.
And I'm sure that's probably happened quite a few times. That's
I'm
probably
sure.
the cause of a lot of the newer accidents and everything.
That wouldn't surprise me. I mean, I understand the reason for it.
Yes and no.
Yeah.
Because how much does it actually save? Because how much...
I would say in long traffic, like in cities, big cities like LA, New York, where you sit at a light for 3 to 5 minutes, you move 5 feet, and then you sit for 3 to 5 minutes again. Yeah, but the battery's easy to replace.
Easy to replace, but the components that go into it, it's...
Well, if you recycle your battery, they can recycle like 90% of the battery and reuse it. So...
Yeah, I guess. Granted, it's kind of a...
In heavy traffic where it's start and stop traffic. Yeah. But the problem is, the thing is, if you put AC on, it shuts it off. So it doesn't shut off. It's like hers will shut off for a second. And then if the AC gets to a certain mode and it has to kick in again, it turns the car back on. So, I always shut it off. As soon as I have it, I shut it off.
Oh, absolutely. If I had a car that had it, I would do it too. But it's not... If you think about the on and off, like that constant on and off, how much fuel does it take to turn a car back on? It's more than it's sitting idle.
I'm not a rocket scientist.
Well, I've kind of looked into it. I looked into it at one point, and I was like, because it has to give enough fuel to get everything going.
Yeah.
So it's a significant bump if you're stopped for a certain amount of time. Because I think
they say it's like 45 seconds or longer, then it levels out or something like that.
But I think it was more. I think it was more prior. Maybe it's more efficient now. But it's like that. You're not really saving too much. You're really not saving too much. What you're doing,
people can feel like it's saving,
and that's what's important. Apparently, is feeling like you're saving something, feeling like you're actually doing something when you're not, because that goes into electric cars. People were like, "Oh, I'm saving the planet because I got an electric car."
No,
Prius.
Prius. Stupid Prius.
Yeah, I feel the same way.
Prii are bad.
They are very bad. But it makes
if you want to get an electric car because you don't want to pay for fuel and you'd have a short commute, 100% good for you. But if you tell me you're doing it because it's better for the environment,
it's not.
You're not thinking about what it takes to create that battery. You're still using fossil fuels to pull that battery out. To get all the stuff out of the ground. You're digging open pit mines to get the cobalt and everything else out of that.
And the majority of the majority of the United States, what are the energy plants run off of?
Coal.
So are you really, it's kind of a...
I think you have to do some crazy amount of miles with the electric car. And then in 10 years, you got to replace the battery.
7.
I don't know. I think
7 to 10 years.
I want to say Tesla was a 10-year warranty or something. I don't know.
But either way,
you're replacing a battery, and the batteries are $20,000 to $30,000. Well, you're better off replacing the car then.
Well, there was that one guy. This is obviously old already. This has been a while back, but he had gotten one of the first Model S's or whatever, and then
P1s?
he had to
P1S.
Yeah, he had to get the batteries replaced because after a certain amount of time, and they were like, "Oh, well, it's going to cost you $40,000 or something, some insane number."
Yeah,
and he's like. At that point, I just buy a new car. Why would I replace the batteries? So it was a whole controversy. He blew up his car.
Oh, that's right. Tesla I remember seeing that.
Or something.
Well, you can't do that. It's my car.
Yeah, it's my car. What are you saying?
Nope, but I remember that. I remember seeing that. Oh gosh, it was 2-3 years ago, wasn't it?
It was longer than that.
Was it?
It's been a while.
And my brain just.
You're like the last few years that I've been on mids are just kind of a blur.
Oh, yeah.
Well, honestly, the last few years at work have been kind of a blur.
Yeah.
Don't know what day of the week it is. And I'm on day shift, and I don't know what day of the week it is.
Yeah, well, it's like Groundhog's Day. It's the same thing every day, so.
No, you're right.
But yeah, no, it's. I've got no problem with an electric car if you buy it for the right reason, not saving the environment. Saving the environment is the wrong reason to buy an electric car.
Okay, so I'll give you a little insight to Eric. He doesn't like electric cars.
Oh, I can't stand them.
But
I do appreciate the performance.
That's where I was
of
going.
the electric car. Like they are an amazing performance wise. They're fast.
They're very quick.
They're
not
quick.
fast.
Well, some of them
quick.
are. The Rivian,
Well, now you're going into
Rivian Navara, $1 million car.
Yeah, you're talking about insanely expensive cars that normal people could never afford.
Rimac Navara.
The Rimac Navara, yes.
Amazing.
Oh,
I would love to go for a ride in one of those.
There's a lot of cars I would love to go ride in.
That's true. But I mean, like, electric cars don't inspire anything from. I love the sound of a motor revving and sounding
the smell good. The smell of the fuel burning, the gas burning. That smell just. It's
especially on a performance car. We're using a really high octane fuel.
Yeah.
It was the same on ATVs and stuff when I had a Banshee.
Mm-hmm.
That race fuel, that VP 107. Oh. And then guys at the dunes all the time would put in, like, they literally had like raspberry smell that you could like drip in there. It was like a fuel additive, and it would smell like they'd go by and you'd be like, grapes, like bubble gum. Like, I mean, and it was a thing.
I mean, that's kind of cool though.
Yeah, it is. But those guys were running full alcohol Banshees. Like their drag machines are absolutely amazing. And that's why I've always said, people always have cubic dollars. Yes, your bike is quicker than mine.
Yep.
I could spend the cubic dollars on it and make mine faster, but then somebody else has one that's faster than me. So what's the point? Like it's an endless cycle of.
There's always someone faster.
Yeah. There's always going to be somebody who's got better performance. There's
always someone better.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. Yeah, it might not even be the bike. It might be the rider.
That can make a significant difference.
Yes, it can.
When you're talking, the traction control kicks in, or you start losing some grip.
Yep.
It depends on how much you're willing to push it, how much you can push it.
Yep.
Or even just experience in itself makes a significant difference too.
Yep.
Because
oh god, I'm yawning. Sorry.
Must have been because you've been working too much.
Yeah, I need to just not work.
I wish.
Yeah, me too.
Man, I've been exhausted. Like probably the past month or so, I've been exhausted.
We're busy.
I think
we're gonna leave it at that.
Yeah, I think work's just getting the best of me right now.
Well, we have a vacation coming up soon, so
can't wait for that.
Going to Chicago. We'll go on the road with some of this stuff.
Yeah. Oh yeah. So thinking about it, we're probably gonna do a couple. We'll probably do a couple episodes up there. It's going to be very minimalist with our
it'll be minimalist with the gear, and it's going to be probably shorter episodes too.
Yeah,
because with everything going on at the Nationals, I can't step away for an hour and a half to 2 hours to record something. It's going to
probably just be something
half hour, real quick. A couple interviews, probably maybe mash 2 interviews together into one.
Yeah, we'll probably do something like that.
So we'll figure something out.
So, but those will be fun episodes because it's Granted, it'll probably bring a lot more bikes into it again.
Well, absolutely, yeah. I mean, it's going to be nothing but guys with bikes there. Guys from Italy showing up, and
oh yeah,
it'll be interesting. Maybe we'll get one of the guys there talk about their military experience because a couple of them are helicopter pilots, cavalry.
See, that's insane.
Yeah,
because helicopters they're such a feat. People don't realize.
Flies the Mangusa attack helicopter.
That's awesome.
Yeah,
that's crazy.
Yeah,
but helicopters are so insane. Like I've been up in a few, and like
just to watch those guys fly them, like to hover isn't just holding it.
No,
it's
constant. Yeah, you got your
pedals
and
the
foot pedals and everything too, and it's more than people think it is.
That's what my son wants to do. He wants to fly helicopters in the military. So I told him, I'm like, you're not fitting in an attack helicopter, kid. You're too big. So he's like, no, because I just want to fly something like Blackhawks that I can translate into civilian work later on. Yeah, Chinook
huge.
Might be heavy enough to lift him. but yeah, I mean, that's what he's looking forward to, and he's studying really hard for it. So get his ratings and get into something commercially or in law enforcement, because they have a lot of helicopters that are flown in law enforcement. So
they do, or even in the entertainment industry too. You could get into that. That probably pays a little bit better, maybe.
Maybe because the guy who owns the company is making the money, not the pilot.
That's true.
I mean, the pilot doesn't go bad. Don't get me wrong. The pilot gets paid well.
Get paid pretty well too. Though.
But yeah, so who knows? I mean, who knows? He'll figure something out. Like I've seen before, like out there when they have helicopters, like the big Sikorsky heavy lift helicopters, lifting the big, tall 100 kV line electrical towers.
Oh, yeah.
And they're lifting them, and these guys fly these things in and start lowering them, and like the 5 guys on the ground spin it and put it on these giant, the bolts are that big around. I mean, the bolts are like 2 inches across. And these guys drop those things onto those bolts.
Sorry, I couldn't help myself.
2 inches around? Yeah. It's
I
diameter.
was talking about the across part, but
Did I say across?
you said it with a T.
That happens. I can't help it. I know it's not a word. It just is what it is.
It just
But they fly and they drop these. They
that
drop
thing.
these towers in, and these guys just turn them, and it just
sits
and
right
they
in.
sit them on there. And it's how the hell do you do that? But these guys are like flying in wind and doing that, and then they're dragging power lines across. Like these are some high quality pilots. Like it's unbelievable, and they get paid very well. They also have really good oil rigs out in the Gulf. They use a lot of helicopters to move people in and out because it's quicker than boats.
Yeah.
Like anything that, like you put a guy on a boat and it takes them 14 hours to get out there, you're paying them for that 14 hours. Those guys are paid from the point they hit the rig till they leave for the rig to the point they get off.
They probably get paid prior to that because they still have to
the prep and all that stuff.
thing.
But so my wife does bookings for travel and stuff, and one of the things that she did for a while was booking those executive helicopters to fly oil guys in and out. So they'd fly in like 6 or 7 guys in, 6 or 7 guys out, and they actually had, helicopters flying those guys in and out, and those guys are flying in all sorts of crap weather. Those oil rigs don't sit steady;
No.
they move
Yeah.
a little bit, not a ton, but they move.
Just landing on something like that is
Yeah.
insane.
Well, and that's why, my son's looking at possible naval academy to do flying helicopters off of carriers and stuff as the rescue helicopters. And I'm like, that's crazy.
insane. Well,
like you're going to be like the
helicopter-
carrier's the best because it's going to be the most steady.
Yeah.
But some of those smaller destroyers and not destroyers anymore, they're called the cruisers now. We don't really use destroyers anymore, but like the littoral combat ships and stuff those things rock. Like you're watching videos of these helicopters landing and the helicopter's here and the deck's going like this, and they're just like, boop. I don't know. And some of it is they have lines connected. The guy, they drop down low enough to connect the line to help them hold it. But
steady it.
I don't care.
But
How do you not crash in that?
So going on that,
it kind of makes me scared
for
my
jets.
kid.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
I mean, it's your kid. You're gonna have that.
I don't
that
like him
instinct.
anyway. It doesn't matter.
Sure. No, but like dropping jets on there because it's not a long runway that you got on there.
No, you're dropping a
That's
jet
crazy.
onto a postage stamp like that.
That's crazy.
Like when you
Seeing
think,
that-
because even with the catch lines that they use,
yeah,
those catch lines are only like 100 feet.
yeah.
So you got to land
But
on
they-
that
I mean,
100-foot
they have
area.
multiples.
Yeah, but I'm saying
But
from
still, you
the
gotta
start
catch
to
one of
finish,
them.
there's only 100 feet or 200
And
feet between.
So I saw something the other day
Because
about
the carriers
it
are
where
what, like an 1/8 mile long? They're pretty long. They're pretty big.
They're big, but it's not.
But it's
You're landing on a runway.
your resistor wires or whatever. That's what they're called, right? Resistor wires.
Maybe. I'm not sure.
I'm going to say catch wire, resistor wire, whatever.
Something.
Well, and now
people know what we're talking
And
about.
now they've went from using steam to electromagnet.
Okay.
So now they can like ramp up the speed quicker, or they can ramp it up so it's not so like with steam it's like and it goes this way. They can actually start to move it a little bit and then boom, so it doesn't put as much stress on the airframe. So like these things are constant. I think I don't even know what class we're working on now. It's like the George.
I haven't kept up with.
I don't
any
know
of
if
that.
they're the Bush class or the George Bush class or the because the Nimitz classes are over. Those are gone.
Yeah, I'm not sure to be honest.
Might be the
That'd
Gerald
something-
Ford class. I don't know. Whatever it is.
Whatever it is.
I mean, obviously,
But
we know more about submarines than megalodons. Apparently,
apparently we got
We got a
comment while
response on
back.
that.
We got a comment a while back about that. And
amazing how 2 white guys know more about submarines. 2 American white guys know more about submarines than megalodons. So shout out to you for responding to our
for dropping that.
for dropping that. We
'Cause that
we
was-
actually both caught a laugh on it. We're like, he's probably not wrong.
Yeah, that's true. I mean, that's why we're bikes, mics, and idiots.
Yeah.
because we're the idiots here.
Yep.
We just talk about random things, and we know a little bit about some things.
Yeah, we know a little bit about a little bit.
Exactly.
We know
know
a lot about nothing.
Yeah. Lots of useless facts too.
Yes. But I mean, that's part of it. That kind of interaction is what we're looking for. Is like, hey, you know better, put it up there.
Yeah, absolutely.
Hey, I can Google. I
we
can
can
Google
learn.
search you too. We're not Google searching this. We're doing this on the fly. So we're just.
I mean, we have the
Well,
we
we
have
have
these things
available,
up, but we have it available. But we're just talking because it takes
Yeah.
too long to actually really research it at the time.
Yeah.
It's not even worth it. Plus, it makes it funnier because we're probably wrong about 98.6.5. Like you said,
0.6.5, yeah, 98.6.5. It's a double point in there just to show you how important that point is.
exactly. we're just idiots here
Yep.
talking about things we know nothing about.
Yeah, but I mean, I still think the megalodon thing, I still think there could very well be, and maybe we don't call it a megalodon anymore, a giant shark. I don't care what we call
Jaws.
it. Jaws. Dun, 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 dun. But I mean, there's got to be.
There's probably
We know
something.
there's stuff that's down there.
There's probably tons. Well, even if you think about it, we know that there's giant squid.
Yes.
Those things are huge. We know that that's down there. There's blue whales, which are massive. They're down there.
And those even breathe oxygen, so they got to come back
They
up.
have to come back up, and that's probably why we knew about those.
Yeah.
Because the giant squid was essentially the kraken.
The Kraken.
Because
Release
it's like a mythical
Yeah.
type thing, but we know that it's a real
Well,
thing.
and so like when guys drew that back in the 1800s of a kraken attacking a ship,
Yep.
maybe it happened.
It probably did.
Like
And that's the reason we know
mythology, yeah.
Well, but that's the reason we know about giant squid is because they're curious creatures.
Yes.
So they've come in
They're just like
contact-
our guy who responded. And we'll shout him out with a name later on or put it in the credits for shouting out to us.
But I mean, it brought us back into a good topic. So
Yeah.
I'm glad we brought it up this time. I mean, it's been a little bit since he actually left that comment.
Yeah.
But it's that's the only reason we know about it.
Yep.
Because giant squids are curious creatures, so they've come up to the technology. They come up to the submersibles.
Yep.
Not our naval subs, but
Yeah.
like the submersibles, the exploratory stuff. They've come up to those things and the cameras that they send underneath and everything. So that's
Yeah,
why
the
we know.
ROVs, ROVs.
Yeah. So that's why we know about it, because they're curious. They come up to it.
Yeah.
Whereas megalodon, let's say,
Too scared. Megalodon's
They-
like,
yeah, I don't want anything to do with that thing.
we're not, Jason Statham's not here or Statham's not here to chase down the Meg
For
for us.
Meg, yeah,
But
that's an old reference already.
yeah, I know. That's how scary is that? Movie's been out for a while.
Yeah, makes us feel old. When you think about it, we're gonna make references. We're gonna make references
They have no-
on a normal basis
They-
that are
people have no
nowhere
clue
near
about.
being in topic
Yep.
at the time, because
Yep.
we're just that old.
We're just so old, which is an old reference by itself.
Everything we say is an old reference. I don't think we have any new ones,
No, probably not. Probably not.
except for that's Cap.
But yeah, got the Riz.
Only reason
I got the Riz.
I'm not gonna lie. I guarantee you do that too, where you say these
Oh,
new
yeah.
kid things to your kids.
Oh, my kids
just
look
to-
at me like I'm nuts. Well, I've done it. You've seen me do it to my daughter
Oh,
before,
yeah.
and she's like, "Dad, you're an idiot.
She's like, stop.
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 You're embarrassing me."
I mean, it's
So she just had her graduation, kind of. And we went through and they did a drive-through graduation. So
drive-through
it's a
graduation.
promotion from going to high school.
Mm-hmm.
Not really a graduation, but so they do it since COVID. They've done it as a drive-through. So you go in, the kid goes up, they get it,
Mm-hmm.
and they walk back and get to your car. So you can get out and take pictures and all that kind of stuff. Whatever, I don't care. So like as we're driving through it, she's like, "Dad, whatever you do, don't embarrass me." I'm like, "Nope, I won't. I won't embarrass you at all."
I'll try not to.
As soon as she got out of the car, "Hey, look, you graduated. You're not dumb." And all the teachers were laughing, and she ended up getting she got a 4.0 GPA
wow.
for this last year. So
That's awesome.
So she got on the president's list and all this stuff, and they were laughing. Like they were all laughing when I was like, "Hey, you're not dumb. You graduated. Good job."
But that's
Meanwhile, she's like, "Dad,
that's
stop."
adult. That's absolutely adult humor.
Oh, yeah.
because there's no kid that's gonna actually laugh at that.
No, and all the teachers were laughing. They all thought it was hilarious.
Which
Kinda was.
they're adults.
Yep, they got it.
Or- You think they're adults?
Well, some of them look like kids. It's just because we're old.
I mean, there's a lot of people where you're like, they're working at professional things, and you're like, how are you doing this? You're
I'm
like
26.
12. Yeah,
Oh,
you're like 12.
damn.
Yeah.
Oh, sorry.
That's just our oldness showing
Got a frog
on a
in my
regular
throat.
basis. You sure? Sure
Yeah.
it's a frog?
Ribbit.
I was waiting for the soundboard.
Oh, I
Soundboard thing
didn't
to
have it
happen
on.
of
I had it on the notes.
But us being old, we it gives you a different perception on stuff.
Or perspective.
Perspective. There you go. That's probably the better word. But you perceive things differently because when you were a kid, because I remember having this thought at one point. I told my buddies about it because we had gone out to a bar, and
You drink?
we were like, to drink?
You drink?
No,
Okay, good.
never. But we had gone out to a bar and just having a good time, and I was like, Jesus, these kids are annoying.
Yeah.
And I was like, were we that annoying when we were that age?
Absolutely.
I don't think so.
Oh, I guarantee you we were.
I don't think so.
I guarantee you we were.
probably were though.
Yeah.
But that's just the difference in age that makes you.
Oh, absolutely. Absolutely.
Because I know we did dumb things growing
No,
up.
we
all
still
of
do
us
dumb
did.
things.
Yeah, that's true. But we do adult dumb things now.
Yeah, that's true. That's true. So, in circling back, so we've talked a little bit about the working on cars. We've talked about, modifying. So I've had a 350Z that was fully race prepped and modded out. I had a 400 horsepower Volkswagen GLI.
Yeah.
The Mustang. I don't keep anything stock. My truck right now is the most stock thing I have, and it just has an exhaust on it right now.
Oh, you used to have more.
Yeah, well, we're not going to talk about that.
But that's the fun of, when you're a car guy.
Did you
that's the
adjust
fun.
levels or something?
No, I didn't.
Oh, because something's sounding weird now.
Oh.
Did you accidentally hit back channel?
Nope.
Okay.
No,
So
we're
make
good.
sure we're good. Because
But-
all of a sudden the sound changed.
Maybe I tapped your thing and it got
Okay.
a little bit lower. I don't
Yeah,
know.
that's fine. It doesn't matter.
No, but if you're a car guy,
Yeah.
even if you only do aesthetic changes, you're going to do something to your car. Mm-hmm. You're going to do something to your
I
car.
did a light up GMC on the front grill. It's dumb, but it looks good. It does look good.
I like that. I wanted to get one for my truck, but
Yeah, it would have
just don't.
been off after last weekend anyway.
probably. Not everything's off there. Yes. A few things happened. We won't talk about that.
No.
That's not
We don't talk about Bruno.
we don't talk about Bruno.
And we just got demonetized by Disney.
They'll never watch this anyways.
No, they won't. That's true.
But no, car guys, they definitely do. They will never really keep anything fully stock. They'll either do some kind of aesthetic change, they'll lower their cars, raise their trucks,
Yep.
do something to
Yeah,
make
there's
it
always
theirs.
something to personalize it.
Yeah,
And I
to
think
make it
that,
theirs.
a lot of those same car guys are guys that get into bikes. And
Yeah.
like you've done stuff with yours.
Yeah,
You've added
absolutely.
aesthetic stuff.
I've added a lot of aesthetic,
You tried to make it louder by knocking out the cat.
which
Didn't
That's
work.
gonna make it a lot louder when I do get that exhaust finally.
Have you ordered it yet?
I still haven't. I still have not, and that's I've part of it's just that I've been busy. Work's kept me busy. Stuff with my son, with school and everything.
Yeah.
I've been too busy to really just sit down and try to find that right exhaust. I know the exhaust I want, but to try to find it because it had been on back order for a while. Nope. And that's me. But I should have it because it shouldn't take too long to come in.
No.
And we'll knock it out.
We'll
knock it
put it
out
on in 10 minutes.
Yeah, it's
Doesn't take long to do that. But
No.
you're probably going to need a tune after that. 'Cause technically you've got a new header because you knocked out
because I knocked out the cat.
because there's no cats walking around your bike anymore.
No. Yeah. It's,
EPA, look his address up.
I hope not.
No.
I'm gonna get this random knock on my door one day.
Hi, we're from the EPA. Do you have a motorcycle? Nope.
Nope. Can you open your garage? Nope.
Nope. Doesn't work.
Yeah, garage door doesn't work. No, but I mean, I'll eventually have that on there.
Yeah.
But I've done a lot of aesthetic stuff to it. I've done stuff just to make the ride more comfortable,
Yeah.
and I've done stuff.
Oh,
to
you've
my
done
trucks.
weight
I've done-
reduction too, haven't you? Oh, scraping all that plastic off the side when you drop it?
Yeah.
It took you
I
a
mean,
second.
Yeah, it took me a second. I was like, what did I do? Because I did a bunch of random stuff to it. But, I mean, I guess it's taken a few ounces off.
Eighth of an ounce.
Makes a world of difference. That's why mine's quicker.
That's what it is, yeah.
It must be that. But you do things to your bike.
It's like a golf ball. It's dimpled now.
Is that why it's more aerodynamic?
Goes faster through the air.
But I mean, you've done stuff to your bike too.
Oh, absolutely.
I mean, and most of the guys in our club have.
Yeah, I mean,
I don't think
they buy a new bike and things start getting changed immediately.
Yeah, I don't think there's
a single stock bike in the club.
Fully stock, at least. And when it's great example is Jake, that's going to be going with us on the ride up there. He bought his new bike, and within a week or so, he already was ordering new parts.
Bag guards, front engine guards, wrong everything. Handlebars twice.
Oh, that was a mess. I don't ever want to do that again.
No, I will never volunteer. Like
that was
Angry Jim was like, "Why did you volunteer us?" I'm like, "Well, are you going to say no if he asked for help?" He's like, "No." I'm like, "Yeah, exactly."
But that was a mess, and then it happened. It just so happened.
The one wire that ripped.
The one wire that he tore because they were like,
was the one we needed.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, it doesn't hurt that he ordered the wrong bars too, so it wasn't wired correctly for that model.
Yeah. No, you're right.
So that's the other part to that is he didn't.
So he'll never have heated grips because.
Yeah. So, and that's where you've got to make sure, especially ordering on Amazon. Yeah, it fits a Road King. Doesn't fit a Road King Special.
Yeah. You've got to
verify what you have 100%.
Yeah, absolutely.
And that's where sometimes ordering on Amazon or eBay isn't worth it.
No.
Go to your dealer and have them order the right thing for you. Pay a little bit extra. Pay once, hard, cry once.
And sometimes it's more worth it to spend that extra money.
Yeah.
Up front.
In that case, it would have been worth it for us because
we spent 2 full days, like 4 guys working on it.
For handlebars. Working kind of.
Yeah, well, I mean,
yelling a lot.
There was a lot of that. Definitely a lot of that. But you would think replacing handlebars on a Road King.
There's no fairing. You just had to take the one cover off.
That was a nightmare. It was easier to redo the handlebars on my bike.
Yeah.
And I have full mounted fairing. Like, it's not easy to get off.
Yeah.
It was easier on my bike.
Yep.
That's insane.
Yeah. Well, you probably bought the right handlebars too.
There was that. But still running that cable through was terrible.
The throttle cable?
The throttle cable, yeah.
That's always
rough. And I don't think they ever sell anything that has the throttle cable already in there.
No, they don't.
So we don't. I mean,
you're always going to have to run a throttle cable through, but it doesn't help when you do the meat hooks.
Oh yeah. And then
so when I did my 14s, I paid to have the dealership do it because I'm not messing with it.
Yeah.
Well, and those are easy because they're a thick bar.
Rounded.
Well, they're rounded, and it's also like a double thick bar. So I mean, like his bars were literally the same diameter all the way through.
Yeah.
Whereas these are like mine are the smaller diameter for your grips, and then it gets to like a, what's that, 2-inch? Maybe?
Sure.
Yeah, whatever. 1.5, 2-inch bar. Well. And we want to thank one of our founding sponsors, the Legion of St. Michael Law Enforcement Motorcycle Club, founded in 2014 in Chicago, Illinois, by the Chicago Police Department.
They have many chapters throughout the United States and international. We are part of the Tucson chapter, and Eric is actually national president, and he got to go visit our international brothers down in Italy.
And moved on and saw some friends that we met in Italy and Qatar. But we're a 501c3 charitable organization that focuses on law enforcement and first responder families in their times of need, whether it be a death, financial issue. We're there to help support our brothers and sisters in blue.
Yep. Anything they need or their families need, we usually try to help out anything we can, any way we can, financially, or even if it's just moral support, being there for them, being able to help them out with anything they need or we can do for them.
So if you're interested in donating to the Legion of St. Michael, reach out to any of the chapters through us, through our many social media profiles that we have set up.
Being Instagram, TikTok, Twitter, X, YouTube, or Rumble. Any one of those you can reach out to us, or you can reach out to us on our email, bikesmikesandidiots@gmail.com, and we'll try to get back to you as quickly as we can so you can help us out and do whatever again.
And once again, thank you to Legion of St. Michael as a founding member.
But sorry about that interruption. I mean, I'm sure there was a sponsor spot there.
Yeah, oh, I'm sure we can. If not, we just did. But yeah, no, I mean, I don't even remember what we're talking about. I just totally squirreled.
Totally squirrel. We were talking about fixing the bikes, the handlebars.
Oh, yeah. So yeah, it's got like a 2-inch bar on it. So like for that one, it was easy. They're just like, and it was rounded. Both sides are rounded.
So
it's a big bar. So they were just like, meh. Well, you know, they have all the right tools to do it too. So what they probably did, honestly, if they have a hard time with them, they probably just clip the wires, pull it through, and then solder everything.
Oh, yeah.
That's the smartest way to do it. Like that, which we ended up doing with Jake's anyway.
Yeah, we did. We did
Because we had to Frankenstein the heat warmers became turn signals.
They did. They absolutely.
But it
did.
worked.
That's why he's never going to have heated.
If
grips.
it's stupid but it works,
It
isn't stupid.
Don't get me wrong. Sorry, I should have.
That's all right. Sorry, that's me.
But we should have. We probably should have done that. But how accomplished did you feel the 2 times we were able to actually get the throttle?
Yeah, when we got them through, we're like, yes, and then we're like, these aren't the right bars.
Yeah, and then we did it again.
Yes, they're still not the right bars. And thank God, was it you or Damien that were like, why don't we just match this up to see if they're the right ones with the cable? And we're like, there like, it's not the right ones.
But we had already run the throttle.
We had already run it through, but we're like, and that's when we figured out, like, hey, let's figure out what these wires touch.
Yeah.
And then we started, okay, hey, we can make this work. And the company, the one good thing about the company is the company did use the same color stock wiring.
Yes.
As Harley
That made a
did.
significant
So we're
difference.
like, oh, we can match these up. And we're like, we plug it in. We're like, let's try this. These 2 match. Okay, we got lights on and turn signals. Next one, lights on, turn. Okay.
We're good.
Do it now. We'll do it. And we got it done. And then, and I just put some LED lights on my bike, and one of them was wired backwards. So
which is
when the turn signal's on, well, no, it is, but it's not. So when the turn signal comes on, it's actually the lower, like if I turn it on and I showed you, the left one, which is not the one that's messed up, is really bright.
Yep.
The one on the right flashes dimmer because those are the dimmer LEDs set up for the running lights. Mm-hmm. When you rotate it,
it actually goes the right way.
It goes the right way, and it works.
Because that's more of a...
it's an LED wiring thing. It's LEDs
connection.
can only be wired a certain way for that. And we've got it's got a high pin and a low pin. If I turn it around where the pins are backwards, it works perfectly.
Yeah.
So
but they just won't clip in.
They just don't clip in. So I've got a new one. I called the company. They said, we're just going to send you a new one. We wired it wrong. So that's from the company.
Or they
said
gave
we
you
wired
2
it wrong.
left ones.
Yeah, they put the 2 ones wrong.
And that's probably
no, it doesn't work on the other side either. The other side, it's flipped as well.
That's weird.
So he's like, it just got wired wrong.
That's just weird.
So he's like, when they connected the wires, they just connected them to the wrong spot.
Oh, okay. So that makes a little bit more sense. Yeah. Because it's more of a, this is this amount of lighting. This is 20 volts, and this goes up to 40 volts.
40 volts for this,
or 40 watts, whatever.
Yeah.
So
and the 40 watt ones won't light unless they're activated in the turn signal. So that's why the running light doesn't work.
That makes way more sense now.
So when you flip them and they're on the right ones, the running light's right and the turn signal's right. So the turn signal
is getting the right.
Yeah, it's getting the right amount of voltage for those lights.
Yeah. Okay.
So they're just. He's like, he goes, it's just we'll send you new ones.
It makes way more sense now.
And he said, you could really. He goes, if you really wanted to do it, you could kind of pull the wires apart and move them and stuff in there in your bike. I wouldn't do that. Just get you a new one.
Nope. Wouldn't do that.
Nope. So I'll get a new one, throw it in there, and then if it doesn't work, I'll put the stock bulb back in and take it to Harley. Fix it.
Yeah. No, not worth it. I wouldn't.
No.
I would mess with wiring.
Well, because
like you said,
because the other side, if I use the bulb on the left side on the right side, it works perfectly.
Yeah.
So it's just got one that was wired wrong.
It was just instead of connecting here,
instead of connecting red to red, they connected red to yellow or whatever.
Yeah. No, so that makes way more sense.
So it'll be easy to fix.
When you were saying LEDs
wired
have to
backwards.
be wired a certain way.
Yeah.
Okay.
Well, they need to have current a certain way.
It's
the
basically
right
high
voltage.
and low beam.
Yeah.
So you have to get a certain amount of voltage because the wires are connected to this part.
Yeah.
It makes way more sense now.
Yeah,
when you were explaining it, I was just like, no, I'm pretty sure LEDs, even if you flip the LED the other way and have the diodes, have the cables running out, and it's still going to get the same amount of light.
Yeah. It's because it's not getting the right voltage for the lights that are there.
Makes way more sense.
So yeah, that's why I was so confused, because I'm like, well, it works this way, but the pins don't work. And I was like, well, I could shave a pin off. I'm like, no. I called them, and I called the company and told them what happened. I'm like, hey, listen, I flip it the wrong way and it works, but it's the same on the other side. And they're like, we'll send you a new one for free.
Because then that's the funny thing. Like, so we wired up some ATVs. Me and a buddy of mine, we had wired up some ATVs. We had some extra lights to put on there. And he's like, do you have them hooked up right? And I was like, no, it should be fine regardless. Yeah. I have it this way. Well, they were LED lights. And I turned it on. All of a sudden, no, it didn't blow out, but you started seeing a little bit of smoke. And I was like, oh, okay, we'll flip these.
Wrong ones.
We'll flip these wires.
Yeah.
Because realistically, that's what it comes down to. You're going to get the same amount of current if you connect it here. But if you connect it to the wrong spot, that's what makes a huge difference. And that's why wiring,
I hate wiring.
Electrical. So when I was younger, I had gone
10 years ago.
Yeah. I wish it was 10 years ago. I really do. Oh, my God. I feel so old now. Every day you wake up.
You look old now.
Oh, I do. I really do. Although I got compliments the other day. They're like, you're in your 20s, right?
Well, actually,
maybe they were just trying to sell
honestly, when I shaved, I had one of the girls at work went by and was like, you look so young. Yeah, because my beard's gray. Yeah, stop. Don't talk to me anymore. She started laughing because it's all gray. There's so much gray in my beard that I'm like, oh, thanks.
Yeah, right. And so
I'm married. Stop hitting on me.
Oh, I'm sure that's what they're doing.
Get out of my TikTok video.
Although we do have TikTok videos.
So no, we do too.
Really
yeah.
Can't even,
we
can't even play that anymore.
Yeah, but I don't go to the gym and set it up and then get mad at people when they look.
That's true.
That's a trend that drives me nuts.
That's ridiculous. I mean, why? For what reason?
Yeah.
Well, do you know who Joey Swoles is?
Oh, yeah.
He's done a lot of calling people out for that. And he has a great point. Why, if you're doing this,
don't do it at your home gym. Don't bring it to
that's fine. Bring it to a gym, but don't do it for the reason of trying to call someone out because they looked at you. You know what? I go to the gym. I look at everyone around me sometimes.
Yep.
Because hey, you're doing something. What are you doing? Oh, maybe it's a different workout. Maybe it's something I can learn from it.
Yep.
Or what the hell is going on right there?
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like
I've seen people using machines like, ooh, that's not how that's supposed to work.
Why are you using it backwards?
Yeah. Yep.
So
I don't know.
There's lots of people doing stuff just for attention.
Yeah.
Luckily,
like us on a podcast.
Actually, I don't think we did this for attention though.
Oh, I totally did.
Oh, I didn't know you were
for your attention.
You already had it.
Oh yeah, no, we're just doing it for fun. So
we really do. But I mean, we'll call today's podcast. If we get into any other topics, we're gonna end up going way long.
Yeah.
So we're gonna call today. Today's been a good day.
Yes, it has.
And we had a lot of fun. We didn't get too deep into anything.
No, we just kind of skimmed the surface, but we'll hit any of those. So like when you guys watch this one, if there's any topics you want us to hit a little bit deeper, definitely jump in there. Tell us, hey, I want to hear more about this. I want to hear how stupid you guys are about megalodons again. And if we get enough, you guys don't know stuff about megalodons, we'll look into it.
We will do a whole episode.
And I will see if I can find a marine biologist to come in and talk about megalodons. Like I will do what I can to get somebody here to do it because I have I know a couple marine biologists.
Do you really?
Yes, I do. So
it's good to know people.
Yes, it is. I know a lot of people. I'm old. That's what happens.
That's what happens over time.
Yep. But so ultimately, as we always say, we want you guys to know, live good,
ride hard,
and we'll catch you next time.